Welcome to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chet.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Marten.
Marten, the
Our
life love
favorite co-host, or one of our favorite co-hosts.
There's a lot of cool people that come on this show.
But you're the coolest, Martin. I mean, I have no trouble saying that.
Yes is more fun.
Yes is always more fun.
We can all get a hold of the life love coach. Yes is more fun on
yesismorefun.com.
There we go.
Such a great website name.
Thank you.
We got Tina Valiant in the studio with us today. Welcome in the green room.
Yes, welcome.
Thank
Welcome,
you. I'm
Tina.
excited to be here. This crazy group right here. Right?
Yeah,
And Tina's a bit of an expert about, finding your personal self and your identity and what kind of a personality you have. So we're going to get into some detail on that and about like how you can meditate and do some reflection and find out more about who you are as a person. And that's a lot of fun. That's like a good thing to know about yourself. So.
And what's nice is Marten is an expert on the subject too, because you're a life love coach. So this is going to be a great conversation.
And you can always learn more. That is what I've learned about being an expert, is that I don't really know as much as I think I know.
I love that.
Yeah, the day you think you know everything is the day you start getting dumber.
Exactly. So I love learning new things. I'm really excited that you're on the show today.
Yeah, I'm excited. And, you're right. We are always in an evolution of finding who we are. And just when we think we have it figured out, we're going to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And Tina, you've written 2 books. The titles?
So I wrote Finding Your Voice, which was for women on exactly what it says, finding your voice and finding who you are. A lot of women lose themselves in marriage and motherhood and just taking care of everybody else, that they forget about their hopes and their dreams and their purpose in life. And so that book has exercises to bring them back to who they were supposed to be all along.
And that's so appropriate for this show, because I kind of found my voice because I was married for 28 years, happily married for 25 years.
Absolutely.
Have the 2 most amazing kids, Chet and Rachel. And when we were getting a divorce, I was kind of struggling with, okay, what am I gonna do now? And so it's exciting that God brought this show to me. And in the green room .green, we love it. It's so much fun.
It is a hoot. Or as a good friend of mine says, a hoot nanny.
Definitely.
So finding your voice is
Yep.
very important for women.
And then the other one is called Relationship Real Estate, and it is corporate level sales training in a program that I developed for real estate agents, because that's my ultimate day-to-day job, is coaching real estate agents to full success. And that book will be out sometime this winter. It's out with the publisher right now. So.
Well, how
Well,
exciting.
that's good timing with the hot market right now and so many new people in the game. Because really since 2008, the real estate market's been and then it's just been hot really, really within probably the last year and a half at the most.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you've got obviously a lot of new people jumping on board. So what do you see for those new people for the next year?
Well, here's the thing with real estate agents. Right now, you can literally pick up your phone and you have new clients. The agents that are getting into the business right now, they don't know how to fish for new clients.
Chet's new, so you can be.
yeah.
He can be your first little victim.
She's volunteering you with me again, Chad.
She likes to do that.
No, so I developed 16 steps to real estate success, and it's a whole sales platform that I developed for my team. And it was because I kept having agents come to me, and I was successful, but I couldn't figure out how to get them to be as successful as me. So I put it into a system with steps to help them get to that level, and it was amazing to see the transformation. Because agents today, I'm sorry, they don't realize they still need to do open houses. They don't realize that they still need to market themselves because they're just out there, meet somebody, they're selling a house.
Well, the sales is not taught in real estate school.
It's not.
Right? It's just you just learn some things here and there. And as a lifelong salesperson, you have, like you say, it's always evolving. You have to learn. You have to practice. You have to have. Having a formula like the 16 steps. I would have loved to have that back in the day when I was on the streets hustling.
And you really need to have a detailed plan like that if you're new, because real estate is so built on connections.
Yes.
So many people that have already been in the industry for a while, that have been agents for years, they have formed so many deep connections that are never gonna go away. So there's so many parts of the market that are just totally shut off because an agent already has those people as their connections. So you really have to set yourself aside to get new clients.
You really do. And I can tell you this, with my steps to how to do a proper open house, and because most people aren't even taught how to do an open house. They think you're on HDTV where you're like, hi, this is this fabulous kitchen. Don't you love it? That's not what you do with clients. You let them form their own opinions. And they don't know how to bring that task tension down with the client to where they actually open up to you and tell you the truth. They don't realize that buyers and sellers are liars.
Right.
Until you break through.
Wait, what do you mean by that? They're liars?
So what they do is they, just like if you go on a car sales lot.
Yeah.
Okay. They create this story before they walk into the open house because they're afraid. They're like, okay, this agent is going to bombard me. They're going to send me emails. They're going to try to sell me something I don't want. Just like car sales or any other type of sales. You have to bring that task tension down, and you have to get past the bull story that they give you that's not the truth. And I've actually had clients tell me later, yeah, we created the story in the car, but your agent was so great, we felt comfortable telling him the truth.
Well, that happens in a lot of different sales environments, not just real estate. I didn't do much real estate, or didn't do any real estate. I was more on the construction, remodeling, going into people's homes, and that kind of thing. And it's the same thing. So I wonder if those 16 steps that you have, are all of them just related to real estate, or could they be applied to
Any sales.
any type of sales?
They could be applied to any type of sales.
That's what I
They
thought.
really can.
And even selling yourself, any sales. Oh, that didn't come out right. Selling yourself is like in sales.
Yeah, it's only legal in Vegas. We're not in Vegas.
Thank you for taking that joke. Thank you, Chet. Oh my God, it was just hanging there.
We need to move this show to Vegas.
What I was thinking was so much more inappropriate. So thank
What
you.
I
on
meant
that
to
one.
say is, in any sales, you're really selling yourself, your
Right.
personality. You're selling your personality, and that's where we have to go to this amazing chart that Tina has taught me about. And
Yeah, let's show the chart on the radio, Chet.
Actually, we could show it on our video.
Yeah, we
Dude,
could. I don't
but-
have one with me.
but just describe the chart.
Yeah. Well, so everybody's heard of DISC, personality profiling, that type of thing, right? So you're either a D or an I or an S or a C, and what does that mean? Well, I made it a little more simple. I used what's been taught for years, where you are a driver, expressive, amiable, or an analytical, because those words seem to resonate more with people and help them to understand a little bit better. When you are on one side of that chart where you're looking at a driver or an expressive, they're very fast paced. It's very easy to identify the natural personality of a driver or expressive because they're going to talk a million miles a minute. I'm an expressive by nature, and if I'm talking to somebody that's super slow in their speech, I almost want to shoot myself sometimes. I'm like, okay, I got to focus. I got to listen to what they're saying. And then on the other side, you have the analytical and the amiable, and they're slow paced. And if somebody's coming at them that's a driver or an expressive, and they're like, hey, how you doing today? They're like, oh my gosh, like I'm kind of freaked out right now, right? And you want to talk, you want to match their speed, and you can identify what they are just based on their speed alone and start to mirror and match those behaviors. Works very well in dating too, guys, which we'll get into in a minute. But then you also have the very
important.
thinking-based people, and you have the very feeling-based people. So your expressives that are fast-paced and your amiables that are slow-paced, they are feeling based. If you ask them what they think about something, they're looking at you like you have three eyes. They're like, what do you mean? What do I think about it? Like, I don't understand. My word is feeling, right? And then you've got the thinking based people that are the analytical and the driver, whether they're fast paced or slow paced. And if you ask them how they feel about something, they're looking at you like you have three eyes. Like, what do you mean? It's a fact. Like, it's feel about what? This is what I think. And so those types of words turn different personalities off depending on what they are. And we use it in sales continuously with mirroring and matching. And quite frankly, we use it in dating and relationships as well, because understanding who your partner is in those personalities really helps you to not take things so personally.
So does that help minimize fighting if you pick
It
the person in the
does.
So
right?
I would 100% be the like as fast-paced, thinking-based as possible. Like, and I'm pretty aggressive as a personality type, and some people have not been a big fan of me because of that. And I've just accepted that. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm loud, I'm aggressive, I'm type A, I'll tell you what I think. and if you don't like that about me, that's your loss. So I don't know. I've like never thought of the
I love you just how you
concept
are.
of like, you know, trying to like move on to someone else's wavelength, but from like a business standpoint, that's so vital. Like,
It is.
Yeah. So like,
And that's what she
yeah,
teaches.
exactly.
That's
so
what she teaches.
I was thinking about it like socially, but from a business standpoint, that's like amazing tool to use.
Well, it is.
Because like, yeah, if I'm a DJ, so if I meet somebody that's a booking agent, but they're like on the opposite side of me, like they're feeling based and really slow, I need to tone it down a little bit so that I
Yes.
still make a good first impression.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
that they actually feel like they can work with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because people like doing business with people who are like themselves. People also like being in relationships with people that understand how they are. And that goes both in business and personal.
So if you're opposite on that chart,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be you're going to have some fights.
You're
It's-
going to have some challenges of understanding each other. The best place for you to be is if you're an expressive, you want to be with somebody that has more of an amiable type of personality or a driver personality because they hone you in and they help you kind of focus. If you're an analytical, being with an expressive across the pie, you both might go out of your mind completely because you're like, you don't think of anything. Like an analytical is looking at an expressive going, you just make decisions. You don't think about anything first. Like you're just diving
Go
right
based
in.
off of feeling and emotion. You're like,
Yeah,
wow,
you're all
crazy bro."
feeling based. Everything is personal. And analyticals are like, I can't be around this person all the time. So, and it's true
so
in business.
interesting. And it's interesting. I find what's most interesting is that you incorporate all these personalities and you memorize it. And then for business, you adjust your personality. I love that.
So what are some of the like, I guess the right word would be indicators of what personality type someone might be, other than how expressive and outgoing they are? What are some other indicators if they're feeling based or analytical, or a little bit more type A or type B?
All right, so I'm going to give a disclaimer before I do this because I'm going to give you guys examples. I'm going to play out each personality for you, okay? The disclaimer
that.
is
The
do
disclaimer.
not take it personally because I'm going to exaggerate, audience. So if you're an amiable, don't be offended by how I portray an amiable. And if you're a driver, don't be offended by that. Analyticals tend to get a lot more defensive about it. They're like, I am not like that. And I'm like, you should watch yourself on video. Like, you really are. But
Well, that's
don't be
interesting you
offended.
say that because I would say one of the most valuable tools I ever learned as a salesperson was to videotape my interactions with my customers and then
Really?
go back over it. And it is one of the most uncomfortable things you will ever do as a young salesperson, but it is vital because you don't know that you talk too much or you say like all the time or you interrupt or because you're in the moment, you're with the flow, you're just trying to figure out what's going on with this other person. But if you can come back and then like I said, watch the videotape,
Dissect
you will just,
it.
Yeah, and it, like I said, it's one of the more uncomfortable things, but it is so amazing to do.
it is, and I recommend agents do that all the time. I also recommend that they audio record themselves. Record themselves when they're learning scripts. Record themselves when they are with people or if they're on the phone constantly so that they can hear how they're coming across because maybe they're coming across as really aggressive, as you were saying, and they didn't mean to come across that way, but that's how they're sounding. And it takes literally just tweaking a couple of words to change that perspective.
Absolutely. Yes.
So,
And
Well, I
you're
think
not going to hear it unless it's outside of you. You can't hear it in your head. You have to go and listen to it later when you're in an open state and to really understand what that means. And then you'll start really learning what the mirroring, I can't even
mirroring
say
and
that.
matching.
Yeah, what that really means, because it's not changing your personality. What it's just doing is just slowing down and meeting the person where they are, which I think is different. It's nuanced, but it's different.
Well, it's kind of like learning to improve your behaviors. That's how I look at it because, for me, it's a learning with the show because sometimes I go back, someone will call me and say, oh, that was really one of your best shows. So we'll go and watch the show. And I think, oh, quit interrupting. Oh, don't talk so loud. Oh, and I'm watching the show. And so I learn, so I want
absolutely.
to improve. I want to always be better.
Well, and when you're doing that, I think that it's important to say this. Nobody likes their own voice. Just know that. Don't be afraid of how you look on camera. Just roll with it. Own who you are. So when you're listening to yourself, don't think about those things. Think about the words that you're saying and how you are articulating them to the person you're speaking to. That's what you need to focus on.
Well, and also I think that it's valuable to focus on who do you want to be? How do you want to portray yourself? What is
I like that.
what is the in your mind the perfect representation of the embodiment of who you are? And then what do you need to do to match that? And that's not just trickery and some makeup and some hair. I mean, that's some deep soul searching to get to the person that you really want to be versus who you are now.
I agree 100%. And it's not easy. One of the reasons that we break down the personalities, and we were joking a little bit earlier, Kinga was like, well, like we need to just only say positive things about each personality. And to some degree, that's serious. But at the same time.
I always say that about every show. I'm like,
Right.
I only want to talk about positive. And Chet says,
Right, but you
we
can
also
talk
have to
about
talk about the
negative
negative.
if you have solutions. That's the difference.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is
Solutions.
absolutely
yes.
right.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm hoping he's in this video.
He's in the
I'm in the
video.
video.
Is he in the
And
video?
our shows for entertaining, but we're also just here to be honest. Like, we're not going to avoid some part of the truth because someone might not like hearing it.
Well,
We're
I
gonna
agree with
say
that.
it.
I agree with that. But
Yeah.
I think that it's a feel-good show. It's a happy show. It's a show, but I do want people to learn.
Right.
I want them to leave where that they feel inspired.
Right.
They feel like they've had joy. They're laughing, and learning.
Sure.
So Chet's right. So
Sure.
sometimes we have to.
Well, yeah, I mean, or a feel-good show, but we still interviewed some charities that help with, like, child abuse and stuff like that, some really deep
Right.
and troubling topics. So,
Exactly.
But they had solutions.
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
That's the
yeah.
thing.
Yes.
That's the difference.
Thank
you
you.
have somebody
Yes.
come on here and complain, blah blah blah, no thank you. It's really
Right.
evaluating and, like you said, telling the truth. And here's the truth.
And how we can fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
I love it.
Big difference.
And
Exactly.
that's with personality profiling, that really hits home to a lot of people because they're looking at, okay, but I'm a driver and these are my pitfalls, but how do I fix it? It's very easy once you know what personality stands out because we all have a little bit of all of them, okay?
I agree with that for
yeah,
sure.
we do.
Yes.
But the one that stands out the most, you need to learn how to curve how to relate with other people if that's what you really want in life.
Yep.
And I love to relate.
I do
like
too.
other people to relate and feel comfortable. And I feel like the
Self-improvement.
personalities are important.
Okay, so what are the pitfalls of being dominant then? Because
Okay.
I've always
I
just
love that.
looked at it like it's a superpower, like it's my fucking greatest strength, and anybody that doesn't like me for it, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't need to waste my time around them.
Oh, you're
So,
such a typical driver.
yeah, I don't know, yeah, I guess so.
This is who I am.
This is perfect. You got it
Literally,
right
yeah.
I
mean,
love it. Okay.
If you don't like me for who I am, that's okay. There's
Right.
7 billion other people out there to go talk
it's very
to.
East Coast. Hey, you looking at me?
Well, it's really just accepting reality. Not everybody is gonna like you, and you're gonna find a
Absolutely.
reason. So
Right.
you can't be trying to morph and chameleon too much, but you still need to acknowledge when you're being too much. So it's
Right. Well, it
it's
all
like a
depends on
perfect
what you
sweet
want.
spot. Yeah.
What do you want out of this relationship? You know, so
Right.
many situations in business are just transactional,
Mm-hmm.
and especially in the business of real estate, you've got to be relationship oriented, and that's a whole different ballgame versus a transactional sale. And when you're a driver, transactional sales can be easier. But when you're a driver, when you can step back and really focus that drive inward towards self-improvement, then you can become extremely
Well, and this is why this is a really important skill for me to learn and pick up on, because like
I
I
love
was
that.
just saying earlier, a lot of the booking agents and stuff at clubs are not type A dominant types,
Right.
and
Right.
that's somebody I need to have like me. So it's
That's so
definitely a
true.
skill I need to work on.
Well, so let's break this down.
Yeah, let's
okay?
do it.
Perfect. Give him a
So
base.
a driver.
I love this.
Or the D in DISC, they're hand in hand. They are typically very accomplished people. They have a lot of certificates. They relish their importance with the things that they've accomplished in life. So it's important for people who are not drivers and are trying to build a relationship with them to acknowledge those types of things. It's important to them. Drivers are very on time, although you weren't today.
I mean, I'm not perfect.
See,
driver,
what happened
don't-
was I was
Okay.
driving, right? I was driving, and there was some stuff that came up.
I had to give you a hard time.
But I'm going to say this. Chet played varsity.
Or no, I'm part driver and part hippie, so I don't know what
Okay, hold
kind
on.
of a weird category
He
that
played
puts me
varsity
in.
for
Same,
3
brother.
sports in high school
Okay.
and got a college scholarship. He had to
Nice.
be, and he was a lefty pitcher. He had to be on time for all those.
That's all high
all
school
those
stuff.
ball
That
games.
doesn't matter.
I'm just saying he couldn't have been a driver and be on time.
No.
Mama bear protecting her boy.
Hey. I had to give him a hard time.
Admittedly,
Cheers,
I'm
cheers.
not amazing.
cheers.
I'm not amazing at being punctual, but
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
I think that's one of my only personality traits that doesn't line up with a driver so far.
Right.
But
I wonder where you got that.
Well, and
we will talk about
the
this
reason
in
why
another
I'm always
session.
late is because I'm so busy working on music in the studio.
Right.
So it's because I'm doing something. It's not like I'm just sitting there like, watching
Right.
TV
And
all
when-
day or something.
well,
So-
and that's typical of drivers.
Yeah.
We maximize time, right?
Right.
Where we're trying to fit everything in. We're trying to be on time. We hate it when people are late, don't value our time, waste our time. It's very annoying, right? Drivers are very thinking based. They're very fast paced. You got to keep up with them. If you're quiet and you're really slow paced, you're going to lose their interest completely
Yes.
because they need to keep moving. They need to keep going or they feel like they're wasting their time. Is that pretty
Yes.
accurate?
Yeah,
Yes.
like I hate when I'm trying to have like a fun conversation. Somebody's just like not even like fully paying attention. Like, what was that? I'm like, oh my gosh, seriously.
No,
Might
'cause
as well just talk to the rock over there. No.
Well,
Right.
no, I totally understand what you're saying because there's one person in particular that I can think when I meet with him. I'm not gonna say his last name, but Jerry, and he'll say the time. He'll say, "Oh, I'll meet you at 4." He's there at 3:35, and so he'll call me at 1:45, and he's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm not supposed to be there till 4."
That's a generational thing too, because my dad's that way.
No. And
He'll be
he
there
said, Kinga,
15 minutes early.
anywhere you go, you should arrive 20 minutes
Minutes
early.
early, yep.
Because something can go wrong. And he said, that's why I am who I am. You have to be 20 minutes early. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
It's a driver.
yes.
Right, very
Yeah.
much a driver.
Yeah.
So I try to
And-
actually be early, and I have been early for the shows.
Every once in a while.
Remember a long time
Oh yeah,
ago?
oh yeah. I think last year you were early once.
We all remember it.
We all totally
On that
remember
note-
because we were so shocked.
On that note, can we have a song? Can we have a song? We gotta
Let's
get
have a song.
We're right in the middle.
Early?
We're right in the middle of breaking down the driver.
Okay, let's break
Okay,
down the driver.
we'll do the
Okay.
driver.
Okay,
So,
Chet's right. Cheers. He's right. He's right.
so
He's right.
cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Chet. All
Don't
right.
break the glasses.
Right, we're gonna break them like everywhere.
Okay, break down the driver.
Okay.
Break down Chet.
So, where drivers have to be careful is they can lose that compassionate side. And when people are
Oh.
talking to them about feelings or they're slower paced, drivers can rush them and get them to spit it out so that they can move on to the next thing. And people tend to not feel heard by them because they feel unimportant even though that's not how the driver means it to be.
Right.
So that would be the things that I would caution you about, especially when you're talking to producers and when you're talking to the people booking your shows and stuff, is let them finish, don't interrupt. And
Like how I said, let's go to the song.
Right, Miss Expressive.
That's right.
Driver, expressive,
Yes,
fast-paced.
yes.
Okay.
It's funny you're saying this because we had a friend in our like friend group that kind of needed to have an intervention. He was just like on a stuck in a bunch of bad habits, and I like called the attention of the group.
Who?
I'm not
Just
kidding.
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
let's just spill it all over.
And so
And his
like-
address. Give us
they're
his
like,
address
"Chet,
too.
You're right. Like you're really thoughtful that you thought of this, and you're right about it. But you shouldn't be the one to break it to him because you'll be too like
Direct.
to the point
Yeah.
and like make him feel like shit. I was like, what do you mean? I'm just trying to help him out. And they're like, okay, we get that, but let someone else
Right,
break
right,
it to him.
Yeah.
And that's
so-
where we have to learn as drivers to be a little more gentle when we're talking to non-drivers. Other drivers will appreciate it. As a matter of fact, the best way to get a driver in check is to be a driver right back to them.
Really?
They appreciate that. They respect it because you're calling them out and you're right.
So give an example.
I've had clients that were like, I want it this way, and they're like yelling and they're doing all of this, and I'm like, listen, I completely understand, and I'll capture them with, listen.
So is it kind of like how I said, let's go to the song, and Chet's like, wait a minute, we're
Yes.
right in the middle of being
Right.
Well, that was just you having ADD, honestly. Squirrel! You're not listening to the conversation. We're trying to get through the other indicators.
Got 3 more to go through.
But I think that's a perfect example.
No, but it
Because I'm
is.
like, okay, let's get to the song now.
Yes.
Okay.
And drivers and expressives tend to be impatient like that. They have their agenda in their mind.
Well, I
and we
just
have
want to make sure we get a few songs in.
Right, and we have to step back and take a
Yes.
breath
Okay.
and realize who we're talking to and bring it down a notch. And especially if you're dealing with people, when you're a driver or an analytical, you've got to bring it down to an emotional base of understanding. Listen to what they're saying, respect it, take it in, repeat it back to them so that they feel heard.
She is not a driver, though. She's 100% feeling based. You're not analytical at all. I can't believe you're trying to claim you're a driver.
I'm such a driver.
No, you are not analytical. You are
Marten.
so based on emotion and.
Marten.
Don't get me into this
Feeling.
fight.
Okay.
Okay, but as
I am a driver.
okay, you
She
are
called
not
me a driver.
analytical.
In the left
You're-
corner.
You are
She-
not
I can be.
analytical.
I can be.
You're
She-
so feeling based.
She
That's why you
is
wanted him to play the
expressive.
song. You wanted to feel a song. You weren't trying to analyze the parts of a driver. You wanted to feel a song. So you had your feeling based thoughts took over, and you wanted a song. And I'm a true driver, and my analytical brain is like, I'm still trying to analyze the parts of a driver.
Okay, I need more wine.
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
We just had a mini microcosm of the two different personalities in this show. Look at that.
And let's talk about that.
Cheers.
We had a driver
Cheers.
explosion.
But I still know I'm a driver.
Kinga is an expressive,
And a
but
driver.
she has a driver's side to her,
Yes.
especially when it comes to business.
Yes. Oh, she's seen my driver's side.
We always have a primary. That's our natural instincts personality. And then we have a secondary that comes into play, and that has another higher number when you're on the test, right? But then we take little things from the other personalities and we add them in. So she is an expressive that you guys have to keep on task because I'm an expressive too sometimes, and I need to keep myself on task. And my assistant is an amiable who keeps me on task all the time because I get all flaky and flighty sometimes, like, I want to do this. And she's like, no, we're focusing on this today.
Nice.
So that's what happened there, is you were like, no, driver, bring it in.
In coaching, we call it you have to slow down to speed up,
Yes.
which is a
I like that.
all right because
like
we
that.
all, especially drivers, we tend to just go. That's definitely what I did in my younger days, and I missed a lot.
Yeah.
I missed a lot of good relationships. I missed a lot of communication in business and personal.
So do you have regrets?
Oh, I wouldn't say I have regrets. I just realize now that I look back upon my life that things could have been different. I have no regrets. I am in an amazing spot, and what I went through made me who I am today. So I'm very
You're perfect.
grateful for that.
Yeah.
And it sounds like
I don't know about
he's
that,
kind
but-
of getting at don't rush it. Like be really
Yeah.
present in the moment and
Yes.
get through
Absolutely, it goes
Yeah.
absolutely back to
Yes.
being in the moment, being the NOW, like what
Now.
the junk song that
Yeah.
Oh, I love that
Yeah.
song. Maybe we could sing that song. But
And drivers and expressives, because they're fast paced, they do have to remind themselves to be in the moment and not rush past it.
I'm totally a driver. I feel like I'm more of a driver than an expressive. And if you look at all the people that have been on the show, I didn't find those people in my bedroom. I found them out and about, and I was aggressive about getting them and talking them into being in the show
But
and
it's your
sponsoring the show.
expressive side that makes you so likable and brings people into
Thank you. Thank you. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and you
let's get
got
a
them
cheers and a
on the
hug.
show by drinking with them at bars for the most part. You weren't like. Well, no,
I'm going to step in front of her right now.
it's amazing.
Kinga doesn't drink alone. No, not by
She
herself.
literally has she drinks with the coolest group of people. Like it's insane, and that's how she gets a lot of the guests on the show, just through like social networking.
Right.
And she is such like a bubbly personality.
And let's
it works
say,
so perfectly for her.
if she was just a driver, that would not occur.
100%. That's
No.
why I think
It's
she's
the
more
expressive
of the
side
expressive
that
side.
draws
Yeah.
people in because she's an influencer.
You're my
And
new
she
favorite
and
best
you're
friend.
she's very emotion driven, so that's why she's so her personality is so infectious, because when she starts to
Finally, a compliment.
really like some. What do you mean? Everything I'm saying is a compliment.
He's been
I'm just
complimenting
saying.
you for a
I'm
minute.
just saying.
You are
You're
just
less
paying attention
analytic.
on their stuff.
You're a lot less analytical than you are like emotion based. But it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. That's why you're so bubbly and your personality is so infectious. A lot of true analytical people aren't like that. Like
No.
I'm not as bubbly as you are. A lot of people think I come off as a dick, but
Ooh.
Richard.
But you're learning to curve that already.
So just
you're
saying,
starting to
hold
see
on.
Yeah, and I
that side of
accept it.
yourself.
I
Hold
accept
on.
it,
We
too.
were at a restaurant having fun, having some drinks, and B. Howard came and joined us. He had just flown in with another musician, and he looked at me and he goes, "You and Chet are so alike." He goes, I feel like your personalities are identical, and you guys look so alike. He's like, "You're the beautiful girl version. He's the handsome guy version." He's like, "Chet's one of my favorite people." B. Howard.
I
said
would
that.
agree because we're both high energy. I just think, and I'm emotional too. You're just slightly more emotional. I'm slightly more analytical, but we would still both be on that right side of the chart for sure.
Right,
100%.
definitely.
Far right.
I can imagine family holidays with the whole family.
Oh yeah, big
like,
time. Big time.
Oh, we actually have a lot of fun.
I bet you do.
Oh, yeah, we
I
have
bet
a
you
lot
do.
of fun.
That's a total compliment, by the way.
It's all fun.
We should hear a song
Yes.
before I go to the
yes.
next personality.
Yes.
Oh, geez, now I don't even know what to sing a song about.
Well, what do you mean? All this
a
all
good
this
time?
fun stuff. Are you,
That was a good flow.
Are you driven? Are you slow? Are you fast paced? Let's talk about the chart.
Let's see.
Sing about the chart.
Yeah, I'm gonna sing about a chart. There's a line on a piece of paper. You might call it art. But it's gonna teach you something, so we call it a chart. How's that?
I love it.
That was so good. That was so good.
You'll have to add to that as we keep going along, right?
Absolutely.
And later I want you to sing, please, the Yes Is More Fun song. And
Okay, yeah, we can do a little- we
'cause
can do a little
that's
of
one
that.
of my favorites.
All right, so let's go to the expressive.
Yes.
So
Okay.
so one last question about Chet's personality
Yes.
and what you've seen about Chet today.
Chet, we're back on you.
In dating.
I thought you were going to say, one more question about the driver thing. No, it's one more question about Chet.
Yeah, we're supposed to be talking about general personalities.
So question about Chet.
Inquiring
And-
minds want to know about Chet.
I know, and the driver personality and the fast pace. What kind of girl would be good for him on that chart?
More of an expressive. Probably like Kinga's personality because they're going to be able to keep up with you. Okay? But they're going to bring out that fun in you.
Oh,
Okay? And analytical is another match for you if they have some driver in them too, but that's where you're going to clash a little bit. Okay? Because they're going to have their own opinion, you're going to have your own opinion, and if you don't learn how to communicate that through and agree to disagree sometimes, that's going to create problems
Some
for you.
conflict, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, but
Good
an
job.
amiable and expressive would be a good blend for you because they're going to keep you calm, they're going to bring fun to your life,
Oh.
and they're also going to help you to learn how you feel about things, which we all need to evolve into. We all have feelings, but you know, drivers and analyticals tend to stuff those feelings because it's not something they're comfortable with. So an expressive and an amiable will help bring that out of you.
I'm the most like in touch with my feelings and like emotional driver you'll ever meet probably. But I think that I agree. I would work really well with somebody that has that emotional aspect. I think if I was with another driver, we might just butt heads a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your previous girlfriends,
Definitely.
you've had a few. What do you feel like?
Let's just not talk about whatever you were thinking. Let's just go down another.
Your mother wants to know.
Okay, so let's move to expressives for a
let's
minute.
move on, let's
Okay,
move on.
expressives also fast-paced, and they bring out the fun in people. They're like the life of the party. They enjoy being around people. They're very people-based, very feeling-based, and they help drivers especially and amiables kind of come out of their shell because
Really?
they're on their, like the driver's right above them, the amiables right next to them. So amiables tend to attract themselves to me because I empower them.
Really?
I'm more expressive than I am driver. I've become a driver over my lifetime.
I think
right?
you're very
that's
expressive
learned,
and driver.
Right.
I think you're more expressive. Okay.
So amiables attach themselves to me because they're slower paced and I bring an excitement to their life that they're like, yes, I want to be a part of that.
Yes.
I love that. And that's how you attract people too, Kinga, is like, they're like, I need to be around her. She's so contagious,
Right,
right?
right.
And
That's so sweet.
expressives
Thank you.
tend to be that way. Expressives are typically very fashionable. They make very split decisions. They don't tend to analyze a lot of things. If they
That's
get
me.
burned a few times in their life, they'll start to kind of take a step back a little bit and they'll
Oh, no, I'm
start
very
kind
forgiving.
of, but they'll start asking, do you think I'm making the right decision? Sometimes they'll ask that question because they've been burned because they've made such quick decisions, okay? Expressives can talk a lot about themselves. Just know that. That is a downfall of an expressive. And sometimes the people in their life, their support people, have to kind of bring them back and say, you know what, I appreciate that you're feeling that way, but I want to talk about me right now. And I've been told that several times in my life, and I have to take a step back and really listen to what they're saying. And if you are an expressive that's with another expressive, you will continually be in competition for the limelight.
Really?
I was married to a previous expressive, and I couldn't help that he felt jealous all the time because I got asked to do things like this or speak for different things, and it became a real contention in our relationship.
So, like, in what ways was he, like, expressing jealousy and stuff like that? Like,
Good question.
His driver's side would kind of kick in, and then came the gaslighting. Then came, like, really tumultuous situations.
Define
putting
gaslighting.
You down, basically?
Yeah.
Can you define
they put
gaslighting
you down,
for-
they make you think you're crazy. So gaslighting is one of those things where somebody makes you feel crazy in your life over and over and over again. It's based off of a play from years and years and years ago, where the husband in the play, to make the wife feel crazy, was constantly taking out oil out of the lamps. And she's like, no, I swear, there's not enough oil in the lamps. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You filled them yesterday. You're fine. That's gaslighting. When somebody's taking your emotions and trying to make you feel crazy because of them, even though they're creating what's making you feel that
So
way.
it's basically
Wow.
tormenting someone.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
crazy. I didn't even know that's a thing people do. Wait, what?
Oh,
Because
Yeah.
it's a
I
big
feel like
thing.
lately I hear that. I've heard so many people say, "Oh, that's gaslighting."
It's
that's
a
gaslighting.
coin term.
Is
Unless
that fairly
you've-
new? I
It's
hear a lot
not
lately.
new, but it seems to be out there in the world
Yeah,
right now.
it's-
People are
it's
talking
more
about
common
it.
Topical,
term.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's kind of the word in psychology that's out there right now that people are running to. Now, a lot of times people will say, you're being gaslighted, and the reality is that's not really what it is. They just don't know what the term is. So they're using it inappropriately.
Actually, it was you that said that word so much
when we were
because of one of
talking.
your husbands.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
that's right.
And he did. He made me feel like I was crazy.
That's
That
right. That's where I
driver's
learned it.
side of him started coming in with his expressive side because of his jealousy and trying to make me think that I was the one stealing the limelight from him. And I'm like, but wait a minute. They asked me. Like, I don't understand. I didn't ask them. They asked me. So it became a real contention in the relationship because of that. So if you do have two expressives, it's hard to wrangle them both in to where they can have a successful relationship together.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That
when
makes
it
sense.
comes down to it, I think it sounds like his ego was ultimately what got in the way. He was so jealous of you and your success that he'd rather, put you down than support you and try to encourage you doing that. So,
I'm laughing because if you asked him today, he would tell you that I took it from him.
Are we going to hear Yes is More Fun?
Is that what you'd like to hear?
Unless you want to play something else.
No, I like that song. That's
Okay.
a good song.
I like that song.
Well, the world is a crazy place. People getting all up into your face. They got a lot of opinions about stuff they don't know. But that's okay because you just gotta say, I say yes. Yes is more fun. I say yes. Yes is more fun. Well, I sell stuff to a cranky mom. It's a little annoying job. They're a little on the left and right side. But some of their views I cannot abide, so I tell them yes.
I love it.
True story. Yes is more fun. I say yes, oh yeah, yes is more fun. But no is less work.
I love it.
I love the end.
Okay, so there's one more thing I want to say about expressives.
Yes.
Okay? And that is that sometimes you have to reel us in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we get off topic, we start going on to different things. That's kind of what's going on here. So you do, like if you're a support person in an expressive's life, sometimes you have to keep them on task and focused.
Right,
Not on their phone, not other things you need their attention. That is true of drivers. If you interrupt them, they will just stop talking.
Yeah,
They're just done.
Oh, that's so true.
They're just done. They're
Yes,
like, okay,
yes.
you don't want to hear what I have to say, I'm done.
Yes.
I think that could be men in general too.
This one guy I've dated on and off.
Yeah.
I mean, I know not to interrupt.
Yeah.
Oh, I never interrupt. Oh gosh.
Very
no.
important.
So, what personality is Marten? Do you want me to guess?
I am an
do you want to-
enigma.
You blend of all
Actually,
four.
I do think that Marten is a chameleon. There
Yes,
are people
absolutely.
out there, and
He
because you've been
is.
in sales in different forms all of your life, we
Yes.
become chameleons.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter who's in front of
But
us,
that's
we
what I
can
am too.
relate to them.
Well, for me, it was
You're so cute.
improvisational comedy.
You're not.
Sales certainly was it. Is studying sales. You learned about mirroring and things like that. But for me, it was improvisational comedy, learning how to get up and become someone else on stage. That was for me. And if you're a salesperson, I can't recommend enough taking an improv class, whether it's improv comedy, improv acting, improv music,
Yes.
does not matter. I also I'm interested to see what you have to say, Tina, about mentors, because I know I went through most of my life without a mentor, and I did really well, but I wasn't very happy. And then I found mentors that really taught me how to pursue a different life in a different way. And so I want to know what your thoughts are on that.
I've had a mentor. It's actually how Kinga and I met. My mentor, Gary Vernell, has been my business and life coach for 4 years. And he has brought me to a place of focus
Great
many
guy.
times. I needed that.
Yeah.
Like where he had to bring me to focus. And so, because sometimes I get so many ideas and I'm like ready to go. And like, he's like, come back. Like, let's focus on this thing right now. And I'm like, okay. I'll do it. But I respect him and I enjoy our conversations. At this point, we meet every 2 weeks. It used to be every week for a long time, but he's the one who helped me publish books and do all the things that I've accomplished in my life. I recommend anybody who's truly serious about business to have a mentor or coach.
Absolutely.
100%.
Good. I'm
Because
glad-
they're
I'm
going to
glad
see
to
you
hear
in a
that.
different place.
Marten
Going
is
back
my
to where
mentor.
Marten lies on the chart, though, I feel like he'd be like perfectly in the middle. He's
He's a chameleon.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
It
He's so-
depends on what the situation needs.
And
I
that's
can be
me.
a driver.
That is me.
I can be analytic. And that's just from the years of experience that I
Yeah,
had.
that's
But
what
I
I mean.
wasn't that way when I was younger. I was a driver, much like you. People thought I was a dick.
And you
I
were
mean a Richard.
analytical.
Very analytical. I was
Yep.
computer science, engineering, chemical engineering, all that. So it's and I can speak engineer, but I can also speak sales. I can.
And you were
so-
also
yeah,
a
trying
Marine.
to pinpoint your.
yeah, I was in the
your-
Marine.
He was in the
See, I
Marines.
can't picture you with that high level of energy. That's crazy. I want to meet Marten 20 years ago. He's like,
I can see it,
'Cause
though.
he's so wise and
No,
relaxed.
he's
and
learned how to tailor himself and be in the moment, as
he's so
he
zen.
said.
Yes.
Right. You will get to that place in your life at some point too with your driver self where you will start to become a chameleon as you evolve and understand it more. And you, depending on situations, you will completely take charge if you
Oh,
need
he
to.
does.
Oh, if
Oh,
I
yes.
need to,
Yes,
but I
you
don't.
need to, but it's
I
not where you want to
enjoy
be.
right. Well, depends, but I also enjoy supporting and holding other people in the moment to let them shine and for them to learn. I definitely learned that when I was teaching improv comedy, that the more you can hold space for people to succeed, that everybody wins. And so that is kind of where I come. I think when I was more of a driver, it was more about my success. Now it's about everybody's success.
See,
and that's
I don't.
really the difference.
I don't ever let my ego get in the way. Like, so I'm very in check with like if I will never allow myself to like
Chet's pretty humble, actually.
try to be too dominant or something.
Right.
If
'Cause
someone
Chet is
else
humble.
is better for something, I'll let it go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I
Right.
try to not let my ego get in the way.
I wasn't like that.
You'll be quiet.
So you were letting it get to like all about me type
Sometimes,
of thing.
not always, right? I mean, life is a journey, right?
Yeah.
I've certainly had those moments where I allowed my ego to overtake. I've also taken the back seat, even though I didn't want to, but I saw that it was the best situation. So, it's life. Everyone's a little bit different. One thing that's what I learned in coaching, which I thought is really cool, is that it's about 25 years old is where the human male actually matures. It's really the end, or it's actually the beginning of the end of our maturation process. I actually didn't go to finish puberty until I was about 28, 29 years old. Wow. And there's actually areas in the brain in males that don't form until around the mid-20s that help us understand cause and effect a lot more. And I definitely experienced that as a 20-year-old because I did a lot of stuff that I didn't really think about.
Oh wait, there is a potential consequence and a reward.
Right. And it's just
I'm
fascinating
hearing-
to me that there's science around that, but it also for me it's the idea of it's not all just science. It's all about who are you, who do you want to be, and what's that path?
So, Martin, what I'm hearing from you and what I'm hearing from everybody in the room is we can start off as just a driver, just analytical, and we can change if we want to.
And that's the thing. You
And be
gotta
a
wanna.
chameleon.
There's so many
Yes.
people that are
Yes.
90 years old, 80 years old that are
If
the
you want to.
same humans that they were when they were 16.
Yes.
And those people I cannot help, and no, neither can Tina.
And the reason why this is
Tina
important
wants,
to me,
and we want all the people that want to change, that
This-
are hungry, that
Yes.
want more than what they have now and want to learn, right?
Right, and I do want to address this because you will always have the innate personality type that you are.
right.
Always.
Yes.
What happens is
Right.
you evolve over time to adapt different parts of the personalities into who you are to be able to relate to other people. But your primary personality never changes.
Yes, but just like he can be a chameleon, I can too. And I know I'm a chameleon because this guy that
Good luck being low energy.
Okay, well, you've
Yeah,
never...
right. Maybe if they shot you with a rhinoceros tranquilizer, but I don't know what reality you're living in that you would ever be relaxed and chill and low energy. So,
Dying right now. All right, we have to get to the
create
other
a
two.
new universe with that. For that.
Hello.
We're coming back.
This
Okay.
is Kinga.
That's never, yeah.
Okay, we're saving
we
the
did-
planet.
One
show
at a
time.
Yeah, we'd have to put like a elephant tranquilizer in her neck to
And
even
Chet's
get her
over
to
here
slow down a
going.
half a beat.
So how much time do we have left? How much time do we have left?
Yeah, how deep are we?
How deep are we into the rabbit hole?
We got to make sure
Yeah,
we
we
get
got
to
about
the
5
other
or
We
10
got-
minutes
we got-
left.
5 minutes?
We got two more personalities.
we got-
we
we
got
got
to
10
really,
Two
minutes
more.
really
left
quick.
then.
So we
Okay,
got
well,
drivers, we got expressives,
Right.
and analytic.
Can I have 1 minute to
Yes.
say?
No,
The
this
guy-
is not your show. Oh, crap. I'm sorry. It is.
Wait a second.
So I want to say that I have dated on and off when this beautiful, amazing man who's been really good to me, and he is definitely a driver, fast-paced, and analytical. He's not expressive at all, and he's not amiable. No. And when I'm around him, I let him take charge. I'm a lot more quiet. I'm a lot more calm, and I like being like that. So I'm a chameleon. There you go. Okay, next. Give me the next
Comma,
person.
comma.
Every time I've been around you when you're hanging out with him, you're literally like pretending to be a different person. Right now.
Okay, and we're going to talk about that in a minute.
No, I'm literally like, did someone like replace her with a robot right now, or what is happening?
Who is this person?
Yeah, so I'm like, I
Is
don't want you
next
to end
me
up
right
like,
now, because she is not.
We are going to
He's
talk
not.
about that really briefly, but let's go to the amiable really quick because this is important, okay? An amiable is the peacemaker. An amiable is the one who calms everybody, is loving to everybody, the nurturer, the one who wants to be everybody's friend.
Oh, that's me too.
Kinga is everybody.
The expressive is shining right now.
That's right.
No, I'm a chameleon. Okay, she likes you better than me. 'Cause she barely knows you, and she's calling you a chameleon, but she's saying I can't.
She's just being honest. She's being honest.
You're-
Not
You're
everybody's
being
a
awful
chameleon.
judgy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Remember my disclaimer. I gave a
what is
disclaimer.
good, what is bad here,
She's
Kinga?
taking it personally.
I'm feeling some judgment coming my way.
Tina called it. She knew somebody in here to get.
Oh yeah.
I was talking to the audience,
my
but
God.
I'm glad I gave the disclaimer.
Well, the audience isn't here, Tina.
Right? Kinga is here.
Kinga is right next to you.
But Tina's
and
known me a lot longer than you. She's only
Yeah, so
known
she
you
can see you're
for
not a
an
chameleon.
hour.
You're an expressive, emotional, high energy person. And you never gonna change that, I don't think. Not with that heavy drugs.
Okay.
Like
We're
tranquilizers,
refocusing,
sedatives,
people.
maybe
We're gonna-
heroin. I don't know.
We're going to leave the audience hanging on the other two, and they're going to be like, wait,
okay,
what
so-
about the analytical and the
Okay,
amiable?
right.
Okay, there
All
we
right.
go. Let's go.
well,
See, that's my
and
driver's
But they
side.
have to get your book.
Yes.
They'll have
Right.
if they want to
Well,
really
that's the
read
funny
about
thing.
it, right?
This is not in
Oh.
Finding Your Voice.
Oh.
This
Oh.
is in my sales training and relationship
Well, I
real
know that
estate
'cause I
we'll
read
do.
your Finding
Your
Right,
Voice. Okay.
right.
Great book.
But when we were talking about it, I was helping her understand her past relationships, and we brought out the chart, and then she's like, wait, we have to talk about this on the show. And I'm like, okay, I can equate this to love.
I'm all of
I can
these.
do this. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about amiable.
Amiable.
Because
okay.
I'm a little bit amiable too.
So,
I am.
well, she
I'm a little
becomes
bit
amiable
amiable.
I do.
in her
I'm a
current
little bit
relationship.
rock and roll. Sorry.
Okay, so this Jerry guy I'm talking about, he's definitely analytical and driver. Boom. That's
Right.
it. So he's seen me amiable and not really expressive.
Okay.
So
So you're
yeah.
doing good at marrying and matching. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because that's an art. You have to practice. Okay. So with amiable, again, they're the nurturer, they're the quiet ones, they're all feeling based. In business, they are your best referral source because they are loyal to the hilt. But
That's me.
let me warn you about amiables. And amiables, do not take offense to this. It's okay that you're this way.
Maybe it's not me.
Okay? Amiables have a fight or flight mode. So if they don't like confrontation, they do not like arguments, they would rather just be peaceful and loving
That's
and
me.
kind. I'm dying.
Kinga is
Let's
the
let's just
world.
press on. Let's just press on.
She
Yeah.
is
So-
the family.
They will, if you push them into a corner, whether it's in sales or relationships, you will either be dropped, they will never answer your call again, or they will come out and be totally mean to you, and everything that's been pent up on them from everybody else will come out at you in one moment, and you're standing there going,
Okay, that's not me.
I
ever.
never saw this coming, ever. And it catches you so off guard. And it's because it's their fight or flight mode.
Right.
And so that is one area that you have to be cautious in. Now, if you're in a relationship with an amiable, this is very important. They need to feel heard, just like an expressive. It's the same because they're both feeling based. And if they do not feel heard, there will be a day that you will come home and they just won't be there anymore. And that's
Really?
very important to know. It's not a fault in their personality. None of the personalities have faults. It's just who we are and who we have to own.
And I think that's really important because we've been joking around about the judgments of what's good and what's bad, but you're right. It's none of it's bad. It's just who you are, right? It's
Right.
It's based
love that.
on the
That's
person that
good.
you are,
Yes.
your experiences, the traumas that you've been through. It's all part of it. And so having judgments against, whether you're amiable or a driver or anything, the judgments is not the important part.
Right. I absolutely agree 100%. And the thing with amiables is they want everybody else to be happy around them. Friendship is very important to them. Feeling important to the people around them is very important to them. And if they don't feel that, they're not getting nurtured, they're not getting love. And an expressive is the same way in that side. That's where the feeling based comes
I'm
from.
100% a chameleon. I'm just going out there right now and saying I am.
So, with that said, an amiable needs to feel close to you. And if they don't, They're not going to be in your life, and honestly, they're probably going to tell 200 to 300 people how horrible you are. So know that about an amiable, and nurture them and
They
love
sound just
them.
extremely passive aggressive.
They
So
are.
we have one more
I
minute.
hate passive
I think
aggressive. No,
I
okay,
think-
not hate.
we can't go over
I just don't like
60
spending
minutes.
time with them.
Right. We can do analytical very quickly.
Okay, good.
Okay, so
I guess we have 5 minutes.
yes, so
or 4 minutes.
With an analytical, they're going to be slow
Isn't
paced.
it conscientious, the last one?
Yes.
Okay, but
On the
it's-
disc.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, they're the conscientious. So, an analytical looks at all data. They research everything. They do not make split decisions. They don't like to be pushed to be made to make split decisions. They're going to be the person that's going to go test drive a car 25 times before they actually decide to buy it.
You know
Okay,
who that
that's-
sounds like? Kinga.
I did do that. I did.
You're the
Oh my
most
God.
impulsive
I-
person I've ever
Okay,
met.
when
So
I bought
you
my-
have
I want a
zero
screenshot
self-awareness
of
then.
Chet's
Okay, hold on.
face just then.
Okay.
You are the most impulsive person I have ever met in my entire
you know what?
life.
We're
You are
doing-
so
Okay,
far the
come here,
opposite
come
of
here.
that. It is absolutely
Okay,
laughable.
I'm bringing
my
Jerry to
microphone
the
is
show.
laughing. You just can't hear it.
Okay, guys, I'm bringing Jerry to the show. This is funny.
Okay.
Because I'm going to bring Jerry to the show. When I was looking for, it's a long story, but when my house, when our house
gonna
closed,
prove to you,
no,
Jen.
I am going to. We're going to do a whole other show with someone that someone that like bought our house just so our divorce could like, happen more quickly. And he's like, go pick a house, and I couldn't find a house. I looked. I could not make a decision because I didn't want to make an impulsive decision.
You're very indecisive. That's totally different.
And I
You're
can
still
be
impulsive.
indecisive. I can be
Still
no, I'm not. I'm
impulsive.
not
You're just
impulsive.
extremely
With big decisions.
indecisive.
No.
She's
Hold
all
on.
of them.
No, I am.
She's all of
I
them.
am.
She's
Thank
both
you.
indecisive and decisive all at the same time, Chet. Don't you get it?
No, I can be a little bit indecisive, but I'm not impulsive.
But this is where a good
With a big
salesperson
decision.
comes into play too.
Okay.
Because if you have a real estate agent who's showing you a home, they are going to get you emotionally involved
No,
in the home.
because
they
actually-
should.
But I had a realtor,
Okay.
and that realtor told me, was trying to decide for me and say, oh, I want to see you over here. I want to see you in this area or this area. I don't want to see you in that Biltmore area. I don't see you there.
That's technically not allowed, so it's surprising they were doing
Okay,
Well, that's
that.
what
that's a driver taking over your world, and you're gonna fight against that.
Exactly.
Yes,
So instead,
I
I
wouldn't
said,
like that.
so I started just going to open houses, and I found my own
Right.
home.
Right.
I was my own realtor.
But when
I
you
found my
walked
own
into
home.
your own home, you
I said,
got
"That's it."
emotionally tied to that home. You could see yourself
The
in
minute
it,
I
and
found
your
my
friends
place-
there, and your family there.
And luckily, my friend Jerry saw 2 other homes that were possibles that I was like, oh, I love them. And he's like, no, I don't see you here. Keep looking. And so I did keep looking.
Yeah.
And even though it was an emergency hurry, because he's like trying to buy our house, I found the dream home. And once I found it, I knew it.
Yeah.
So I am decisive when I know. When
Right.
you know, and you know, and you
You
know.
have to be emotionally tied to it because that's your primary personality.
No,
So-
I wasn't emotionally tied to it. No, but
No,
when
when you first found that house, you're like, I love
No.
the feel of this
No,
house.
I
You didn't say, oh, I love the exact location.
Yes, I
and this-
did. I said,
You
okay.
said,
No, actually, I analyzed it. I said I can hike at Camelback.
gosh.
I can hike at Squaw Peak. My mom lives pretty close.
We're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one because we're just not.
I'm a
Not
finding-
getting
chameleon.
involved in the family arguments here.
I'm a
okay.
chameleon, guys. I'm a chameleon.
Kinga is everywhere, Lord. Kinga is
Ubiquitous,
everywhere.
ubiquitous.
Kinga is everybody, Lord.
Ubiquitous.
All right, we'll let you decide. Is she emotional or analytical?
She's emotional. She's emotional, but that's okay. That's one of the things that people
She's
love
an
about
emotional
her.
chameleon
Yes, yes,
that
yes.
drives and she analyzes.
All right.
Mostly
Impressive.
emotional.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm going to finish up my analytical people here so that you know who you are and how to deal with all of us other crazy personalities. Okay? The bottom line is this. If you give analyticals too much information, they've got to go research again. Okay? You're going to turn them off. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board. The drivers and the expressives get very frustrated with the analyticals who cannot make decisions very quickly. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. We should all take note from the analyticals because we probably need to be a little more cautious than we actually are, right? And they take that to a whole new level.
Okay, I'm totally analytical. Now that you say
Okay.
this, when I'm buying something, when I am spending money, okay, people that know me, we're doing a whole other
I
show.
wish you guys could see Chet's face right now. It's just the
He's off
best.
camera over there. I'm not pulling your chair over.
It's literally hilarious.
All right.
Like, so
This is how we
she
roll
thinks
it
she's
in the green
analytical.
room.
Like,
I'm bringing the people in. The people
Okay.
that help me buy my home and my car are coming in with me.
I'm gonna
That's
tie
it.
this all
Saving the
up.
planet all of the ways at one time. Oh, no, that's not the right one. That's not how you would do it.
Saving the planet
One show at a time.